Today I am going to talk about photosynthesis. The content of this topic is presence of starch in a leaf, water and plant life, carbon dioxide and starch production, chlorophyll and starch production, sunlight and starch production. Now if you see, this is the diagram which gives you an overall understanding of photosynthesis. What is visible in this diagram is that a plant which has green leaf is coming in contact with sunlight, carbon dioxide, and after some chemical reaction that happens inside the leaf, glucose is formed, oxygen gas is given out, and this explains the entire process of photosynthesis. Now let's start with some inquiry questions. What if plants are not there on planet Earth? Just now I told you that as a result of photosynthesis, oxygen is given out, carbon dioxide is used up. I think these two things are enough to explain what if plants are not there on planet Earth. You know that carbon dioxide causes global warming, and we continuously produce carbon dioxide as a result of combustion, as respiration, as a result of decomposition, and if there is no one to take it out from our atmosphere, then its concentration will increase to that level where the living will become impossible because of rising temperature and other factors involved in greenhouse effects. Other thing that I focused on was oxygen. Photosynthesis gives you oxygen, and you know how important is oxygen for us. So now this is very clear that if plants are not there on the earth, then life will gradually go away. Now, second inquiry question is, why leaves of most of the plants are green? The answer is very simple. Leaves have to have chlorophyll because it's the chlorophyll only which converts carbon dioxide and water into starch and releases oxygen. Now what is this process known as? Very simple. Till now I am talking about it only. Photosynthesis. Now my next question is photosynthesis a 24-hour process? The answer is no. It takes place only during daytime. You need to think, why? Because photosynthesis is a process which requires energy. And who is more efficient than sun to provide energy? And that's the reason why photosynthesis takes place only during daytime. All these questions together helps me to give you one statement, which we call a statement of inquiry. What is that? Green plants make food by the process of photosynthesis using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight. And now I am going to elaborate the topic photosynthesis a little more. Let me come to the next topic. Okay. If you see, there is one diagram here which is showing that what we get as a result of photosynthesis, and we call it photosynthesis equation. And let us try to construct an equation. So H2O means water, CO2 is the carbon dioxide, and when there is a chemical reaction between H2O and CO2, this glucose, which is the simplest form of a starch, is formed with oxygen. Now, one thing is most important to remember. Photosynthesis cannot take place in non-living cell, and that's the reason we call it a biological process. And whenever there is a metabolism in a living cell, it happens only in the presence of enzyme. And that is why we say that photosynthesis is a biological process which involves lots of enzymes to convert carbon dioxide and water into starch using sunlight. Okay, so this diagram is very clear and it explains everything, that carbon dioxide, water and energy is required. Then only we get sugar and oxygen, and of course enzymes play a major role. Every step of the chemical reaction involves enzymes. No reaction in a living body takes place without enzymes. Remember that. Now I'm going to prove that is really sugar or carbohydrate which is produced as a result of photosynthesis. So for this we need to understand a test for the starch. So one fact we have to know, and that fact is that whenever a starch comes in direct contact with iodine, it changes blue-black. Now let us proceed further with the test. Step 1, a leaf is taken and it is boiled in water. Now you will be surprised why I am boiling it in water. I am boiling it in water to kill the cells, so that whatever starch is present remains there only and no other starch is formed by the leaf. I said that photosynthesis is a biological process, don't forget it. So if a cell is dead, it cannot do photosynthesis, and whatever the starch is there, that remains locked there. So that's why we boil the leaf in water to kill the cells. Okay, this will stop the further process of photosynthesis. Now my next step is then this leaf is boiled in alcohol. Now why alcohol? Because chlorophyll. I want to remove chlorophyll also. Otherwise the green color of the leaf may give a confusion in the observation when iodine will react with the starch. So we want to make the leaf colorless. So that's why we have chosen alcohol, which dissolves the chlorophyll. Now you must be seeing in the diagram that alcohol is taken in a test tube, and then this test tube is kept in water, and it is the water which is boiled. Why such a long process? Why not directly the alcohol boiled? You know that alcohol releases vapor, and that vapor catches fire very easily. So it will be a dangerous process. So avoid that, what we do? Indirect boiling. What we call it? Indirect boiling, because we are boiling water and the heat of the water goes into alcohol. Alcohol becomes warm, and warm alcohol dissolves chlorophyll out. Now this will make the leaf transparent, or you can say colorless. Now next thing is that we have to put the leaf in iodine solution, and that iodine solution will make the leaf appear blue-black, because iodine reacts with the starch and gives a color blue-black. If we see a blue-black color, it means starch is present in the leaf. So now I think I am very clear that it is the photosynthesis which formed the starch, and it is this starch which has given a positive test with iodine, and it confirms that starch is one of the product of photosynthesis. Now the next important thing is, what are the conditions necessary for photosynthesis? I have repeatedly said it is a biological process but requires specific conditions. Number 1, carbon dioxide should be present. Number 2, water. You know that all chemical reactions will require water. I don't have to prove it. It's understood that without water, no reaction will take place, and water is also one of the components which is going to combine with carbon dioxide and give a starch. So water has to be one of the conditions, necessary condition. Third is sunlight. Again, I have repeatedly said, without energy, reaction is not going to take place. So sunlight is only giving the energy for the reactions. Then fourth condition is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is like kitchen. Okay, food is being made, no? So kitchen is required, utensils are required. So it is the chlorophyll which is acting like a kitchen, where carbon dioxide, water is getting mixed up, and the fuel is the sunlight, and cooking process happens inside the chlorophyll, and the product is a starch. Now, whatever I have said, I need to prove it. Unless and until I prove it, it's not worth believing. So my experiment number 1, carbon dioxide and starch production. Since we have to prove that no starch will be found in the leaves if carbon dioxide is not available. Indirectly, I mean to say that if carbon dioxide is not there, photosynthesis won't take place. So for this, to begin the experiment, first thing is, let us de-starch the leaves. How to do de-starching of the leaves? We keep the plant in dark for 24 hours minimum. Now during this process, when the leaf is or the plant is in the dark, whatever is the starch present in the leaf moves out and goes into other parts of the plant. So leaf becomes free from starch. So we have taken 2 such pots where the leaf is starch free. Now let's proceed further with the experiment. Okay, I am saying 2 plants. You will be wondering what I am going to do with 2 plants. Okay, one plant is called experimental plant because this plant will be kept in an environment which does not have carbon dioxide, and the leaves of this plant will be tested for the presence or absence of starch at the end of the experiment. Now how to create an environment, a starch-free environment? My main problem is this, how to create an environment. Now for this I require to keep my plants in bell jar. I hope this diagram is clear to you. One plant is kept in a bell jar which has got tube, and through this tube air can enter into it, and in order to confirm that carbon dioxide is made available to the first plant, sodium bicarbonate is also kept in that bell jar that will keep on releasing carbon dioxide, and this will ensure that this plant is getting sunlight, water from the pot, carbon dioxide which I am providing from the air and the chemical. So it's getting all the necessary components for the photosynthesis. This plant or this setup is known as control experiment because we are going to compare with this the other experiment which is experimental plant. Now this experimental plant is kept in the second jar. This jar I am trying to make it free from carbon dioxide. So the tube from where air is entering, I have kept soda lime there. Soda lime has a property of absorbing carbon dioxide. So first hindrance to carbon dioxide is at the entrance. So air which is entering into the bell jar has got no carbon dioxide or very little carbon dioxide, which will be also eliminated by sodium hydroxide solution. You can see a small container, a small beaker in which I have kept sodium hydroxide solution. So that will eliminate even a trace of CO2. Okay. Now both these plants will be kept in sunlight because I want to give them sunlight, I want to give them water, but only thing is one plant I don't want to give carbon dioxide. Now this is kept for 8 to 10 hours in light, and then one leaf from control plant, one leaf from experimental plant is plugged and then tested for starch. How to do the testing of starch I have already explained earlier. When we do the testing of the starch, we will find that the control leaf, which was getting all the conditions necessary for photosynthesis, showed the presence of starch by turning blue-black in the presence of iodine, and the experimental leaf will remain colorless. The reason is that no photosynthesis has taken place. What was missing in this experimental plant? Only CO2. So this confirms that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. Now I am proceeding for the experiment number 2. I want to prove that I think I have moved ahead a little bit. Sunlight is necessary for photosynthesis. For this, a plant is taken. Just remember. And what we do to a leaf is we take a black strip and clip it on the leaf. And remember that these leaves are also made de-starch. All the experiments which is done for the photosynthesis, proving the photosynthesis, then we have to de-starch the leaf first. So we have put a black strip and clipped it and exposed it to the sunlight for few hours, and then it is tested for presence of starch. We will see, can you see the second leaf where there is an area which is turning blue-black, and it is that area which was exposed to sunlight, and then there is an area which is colorless. It is this area which was covered with a strip, not getting sunlight. And this again confirms that if sunlight is not there, photosynthesis cannot take place. Now I am coming for experiment number 3, that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. For this, I require a special kind of plant which has got variegated leaves. What is variegated leaves? Variegated leaves are those which have got few spots colorless and few spots colored. The colored spots has chlorophyll, the colorless spot doesn't have chlorophyll. So again, I have to de-starch, then pluck a leaf and do the iodine test, and what we will get is that the area which has chlorophyll turns blue-black, showing the presence of a starch, and the area not having chlorophyll doesn't show blue-black color. So this again confirms that if sunlight is not there, photosynthesis cannot take place. This is the details of it. You can see that, and my conclusion is that without chlorophyll, photosynthesis cannot take place. That's all for today. Thank you.